Here are all 18 knowledge imparting notes that FromSoftware wanted you to pay for in Elden Ring. Plus, I have one extra note that was actually removed from the game prior to release, so even if you wanted to, you won't be able to find this useful tip anywhere in the game. So sit back, enjoy the knowledge, and relish over your unspent runes. Number 1. The Flask of Wondrous Physick. Purchasable for 200 runes from Merchant Kale, who can be found in the Church of Ella in Limgrave, located here on the map. This note states a Flask of Wondrous Physick still remains in the 3rd Church of Marika, north of the Mistwood. Cross the highway bridge and follow the animal trail north. So if you follow these instructions to this location on the map, at the 3rd Church of Marika, laying on the ground, you will find the Flask of Wondrous Physick, a must-have item for any Tarnished, as it allows you to customize a consumable flask with various buffs that you will be able to find throughout your journey in the lands between. One such buff is the Crimson Crystal tier, which can be found alongside the Flask of Wondrous Physick in the 3rd Church of Marika. Once you have mixed this tier into your flask, which can be done from any grace, when you consume it, this tier will restore 50% of your HP. As the flask has 2 slots, you can mix and match various tiers, depending on what buffs would be most suitable for your build or current situation. And as the flask is a consumable item, it can only be used once, but fear not, it will refill when you rest at any site of grace. Number 2. Waypoint Ruins. Purchasable for 200 runes from Merchant Kale, who can be found in the Church of Ella in Limgrave, located here on the map. This note states, someone lurks among the Waypoint Ruins on the roads through Limgrave. The Waypoint Ruins can be found in the east of the Agil Lake in Limgrave, and once here you will find a passageway leading down into a cellar, where you will face off against the Mad Pumpkinhead boss. Once you have felled this field boss, you will then be able to open the door to Sorcerer Sellen's Sorcerer's Shop, where you can purchase a whole variety of spells for your casting needs. Number 3. Stonedigger Trolls. Purchasable for 400 runes from the nomadic merchant, who can be found sitting by a fire under the collapsed stone structure southeast of the coastal cave in West Limgrave, located here on the map. This note states, the heads of the Stonedigger Trolls bear old wounds. Throughout the lands between, you will come across many a Stonedigger Troll, so just like the Mad Titan Thanos says, should have gone for the head, and try shooting an arrow at the Stonedigger Troll's head, and this will then cause it to stumble and be dazed for a few seconds, giving you plenty of time to do some serious damage and take it down. Number 4. Land Squirts. Purchasable for 200 runes from the nomadic merchant, who can be found sitting by a fire under the collapsed stone structure southeast of the coastal cave in West Limgrave, located here on the map. This note states, land squirts are soft where they touch the ground, and poison will cause them to rupture. So all you need to do is literally that. When you go toe to toe, simply apply them with a poison debuff, and this will be too much for them to handle, and they will erupt in a poison cloud, killing both themselves and more than likely starting a chain reaction with any other land squirts in the vicinity. Number 5. Flame Chariots. Purchasable for 300 runes from the nomadic merchant, who can be found playing music by a campfire next to the road in North Limgrave, east of the bridge connecting Stormhill and East Limgrave, located here in the map. This note states, beware the fire monk's chariots, bearing the faces of giants. A well-aimed blow to the chimney on top may prove effective, but opportunities for a plunging attack will be rare indeed. Utilising Torrent can really help you to perform this plunging attack into the chimney of the Flame Chariots. And if successful, this move will one-shot them into a fiery ball of death, taking out any enemies foolish enough to be too close. Before we move on, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell to make sure you don't miss out on even more Elden Ring content. Number 6. Demi-Human Mobs. Purchasable for 500 runes from the nomadic merchant, who can be found sitting by a campfire near the Castlemorn Rampart site of Grace in the eastern side of Weeping Peninsula, located here on the map. This note states, slay the Demi-Human Mobs leader first, and the rest will lose hope and panic. So when you find yourself facing off against any Demi-Human chief or boss that is surrounded by mobs, well, ordinarily you may focus on taking out the mobs first in a 1v many situation. However, if you take out the leader of the pack, then all the other mobs will give up and stop attacking you, even going so far as to cower in fear from you. Number 7. Wandering Mausoleum. Purchasable for 600 runes from the isolated merchant, who can be found sitting in his shack at the very west of the Weeping Peninsula, located here on the map. This note states, to stop the Mausoleum's stride, you will need to clean up around its feet first. Throughout the lands between, you will encounter many of these wandering mausoleums, and they can be used to duplicate boss remembrances in order to obtain both of its boss items at the Round Table Hold. In order to access the mausoleum, you will first need to bring it down to the ground, and in most cases, this can be done by attacking the white skull-shaped forms located around its feet. However, on a few mausoleums, these white skull deposits are located on the rocky plateau around the mausoleum itself, so you will need to use a spirit spring to reach it. It is worth noting that each wandering mausoleum can only be used once, and as there are more remembrances than mausoleums, you will need to choose wisely. Number 8. Revenants. Purchasable for 800 runes from the Isolated Merchant, who can be found just outside Raya Lucaria Academy in Liurnia of the Lakes, just down the road from the main Academy Gate Site of Grace. Located here on the map, this note states, the crawling royal revenants and their followers are all cursed. Healing powers will harm rather than mend. Well, it may seem counterintuitive, but using any AoE healing incantation near any royal revenant, or wraithcaller will not just heal you, but it will also inflict serious damage to them, turning the tide in what is usually a challenging enemy. Number 9. The Preceptor's Secret. Purchasable for 1200 runes from the Isolated Merchant, who can be found just outside the Raya Lucaria Academy in Liurnia of the Lakes, just down the road from the main Academy Gate Site of Grace. Located here on the map. This note states, Preceptor Selvus is hiding a dirty secret in a cellar among the ruins not far from the Sisters 3. The vile graven witch seems to be a frequent visitor to that place. So if you head on over to this location on the map, halfway between Ranni's Rise and Renna's Rise, you will find some ruins with 2 rows of pillars. If you attack the floor between the pillars, you will remove an illusory floor, leading down to Selvus' secret lab. Then at the end of this secret lab, you will find an illusory wall on the far wall leading to a small room containing Selen, and this is a key part of her questline. Number 10. Frenzied Flame Village. Purchasable for 800 runes from the Isolated Merchant, who can be found just outside Raya Lucaria Academy in Liurnia of the Lakes, just down from the road from the main Academy Site of Grace. Located here on the map. This note states, south of the Grand Lift of Dectus lies the Frenzied Flame Village, inhabited by the sick. Stay well away. The Frenzied Flame Village can be found here on the map, and as the note states, can be accessed by travelling south from the Grand Lift of Dectus. But be warned, this village and tower full of frenzied foes are enough to send anyone mad, so enter at your own peril. Number 11. The Lord of Frenzied Flame. This note is one of only 2 notes that do not need to be purchased, and can instead be looted from a corpse found within the Frenzied Flame Village. To find it, approach the village from the northern entrance, and locate a corpse lying against a corner of the wall to the left as you enter. The note states, beneath Leyendell at the very bottom lies our Lord, Lord of the Frenzied, the 3 fingers who hold us in thrall. The 3 fingers can be found near the Cathedral of the Forsaken, below the subterranean shunning grounds, located here on the map. But you will need to traverse an intricate path in order to access it. The 3 fingers are also linked to one of the many endings of Elden Ring, but one puzzle remains once you have found this location. May chaos take the world. Number 12. Gravity's Advantage. Purchasable for 800 runes from the Nomadic Merchant, who can be found sitting by a campfire at a junction in the southern portion of Caelid Highway, located here on the map. This note states, gravitational power that pulls can bring flying foes low. So, if you are ever having problems with our high-flying enemies, then it's worth using gravity sorceries or gravity-based skills such as Gravitas to bring them down to your level for a good whopping. The Meteoric Oreblade, which has the Gravitas skill, can actually be found not too far away, in the Caelid Waypoint Ruins in an underground hall located here on the map. Number 13. Gateway. Purchasable for 1200 runes from the Isolated Merchant, who can be found sitting in his shack at the very west of the Dragon Barrow, located here on the map. This note states, Fort Gale in Caelid houses a gateway that leads to Redmane Castle. So if you head to this location here on the map, you will find a waygate, or gateway if you like, which when interacted with will instantly teleport you from Fort Gale to Redmane Castle. Redmane Castle has 2 separate phases depending on whether the Radahn Festival is active or not, so be careful with your quest lines, as you could temporarily lock yourself out of certain sections of the castle. But once you've defeated the area boss, which is one hell of an experience, the festival will be over and the castle will revert back to its original state. Number 14. Hidden Cave. Purchasable for 1200 runes from the Isolated Merchant, who can be found sitting in his shack at the very west of Dragon Barrow, located here on the map. This note states, there is a hidden cave in the town of Celia. Look beyond the graveyard at the precipice. This is referring to the Celia Hideaway, which can be found behind an illusory wall in the cliffside just behind a small graveyard, north of the Church of Plague, located here on the map. Within this cave you will find a couple of new sorceries, a crystal spear, and it also houses a key component to Selen's questline. Number 15. Imp Shades. Purchasable for 1200 runes from the Nomadic Merchant, who can be found sitting by a fire at the side of the broken Great Bridge, just next to the forest-spanning Great Bridge site of Grace in Altus Plateau, located here on the map. This note states, nothing can touch the shades of imps in the hero's graveyard, only Rosas' light can give them form. This refers to the shaded imps that you will encounter in the sainted hero's grave, who appear to be invulnerable. All you need to do here is lure them towards the nearby Rosas light, and this will make them stagger and become vulnerable to attacks again. This also applies to other enemies that are also shaded like the imps. The sainted hero's grave can be found here on the map. Number 16. Unseen Assassins. Purchasable for 2000 runes from the Nomadic Merchant, who can be found sitting by a fire at the side of the broken Great Bridge, just next to the forest-spanning Great Bridge site of Grace in Altus Plateau, located here on the map. This note states, some assassins cannot be seen with the naked eye. Seems the Erdtree sentries once carried torches that could cast light on these prowlers. So when fighting enemies who are normally invisible, such as the Black Knife Assassins or the lesser Black Knife Assassins, if you wield the Sentry Torch, it will allow you to see them, lock on, and attack them as normal. The Sentry Torch can be purchased for 7,000 runes from the Hermit Merchant, who can be found at the Hermit Merchant Shack in Lanedale Royal Capital, located here on the map. Number 17, Below the Capital. Purchasable for 800 runes from the Hermit Merchant, who can be found at the Hermit Merchant Shack in Lanedale Royal Capital, located here on the map. This note states, below the Royal Capital of Lanedale is a vast network of sewers. The well in the city below reaches deep into its tunnels. So to access this well, you will need to head northwest of the Avenue Balcony in Lanedale, located here on the map. From the Avenue Balcony site of Grace, descend the stairs and then turn left at the double door. Walk to the railing and then head northwest until the rooftops are immediately to your left. Then jump over the railing onto the roof and head down into the plaza. From the centre of the plaza, face north, and you will be able to see the wooden frame of the well between some ruins. Once you have then descended down the well, you can now traverse a whole subterranean section of the game that contains a very confusing maze of sewer pipes, but if you manage to navigate this area correctly, you will find yourself face to face with one epic boss fight. Number 18, Miquella's Needle. This is one of only 2 notes that can be found as loot, instead of having to buy them from various merchants. In order to find this note from the Cathedral of the Forsaken Site of Grace located here on the map, you will need to attack the altar at the end of the room, and it will unveil a secret passageway. Then continue down the passageway until you reach the end, and you will then need to very carefully descend this area by jumping from coffin to coffin. Near the bottom of the area, you will reach a corpse that has an item on it. On this platform, you will find an open area with lots of bodies and a tent, which you will need to destroy in order to obtain the note. There are only 2 ways to do this. The first is to lure the Nomad, located around the corner, towards the tent and get him to destroy it with his frenzy attacks. The second way is to stand very close to the tent and quit the game. Then when you load back in, the tent should be gone, but this method can take a few tries to get right. Once acquired, the note states, the Empyrean Miquella crafted a needle to resist the influence of outer gods. Those who have inherited the Flame of Frenzy, yet wish not to become its lord, would do well to seek Miquella's Needle. Miquella's Needle can be used to revert the Three Fingers Flame of Frenzy, and can be obtained by reaching one of 2 possible endings to Millicent's questline. Bonus note, Great Coffins. And finally, the Great Coffins note cannot be found anywhere in the Lands Between, and that's because FromSoftware decided not to include it. But as you have all been very good eggs, I can share it with you right now. This note states, Great Coffins travel the Lands Between, carrying the bodies of nameless fallen warriors. Might be a good source of armaments. So this note relates to several giant carriages that are being escorted through the Lands Between, some of which are broken down at the side of the road. At the back of these Great Coffins, you will usually find a chest that contains various goodies that are definitely worth your while in obtaining. It is worth noting that you don't need to defeat the surrounding enemies to obtain these items. You can simply run and jump onto the back, open the chest, loot the goods, and run off. As to why FromSoftware decided not to include this note is anyone's guess. Personally, I think it would have been a great addition. But then again, maybe they just figured some things were better discovering for yourself. And for now, that's it. You now have all the hints and tips that FromSoftware wanted to charge you for. Let me know in the comment section below which of these notes you found the most useful, and what handy tips would you give to other new players. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Elden Ring content.